Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming to the Alexyss K. Tylor Vagina Power Show. I got a really, really heavy topic that's on my mind, and I thought about not doing the show since I just did one Wednesday night. I was going to wait to do this show, but I wanted to, go ahead and put this out there because this is something that's really been heavy on my mind. One of my close relatives, I think she's like my second cousin, she died last Saturday night in her sleep. And my grandmother was saying that when they found her and even when they buried her, when she was buried today, she had like a smile on her face. And what's so ironic about it is maybe a week or so ago, maybe almost 2 weeks ago, she had a physical. She had a complete physical, and the doctor said that she was totally healthy. He gave her a clean bill of health, said she had no problems whatsoever, no heart problems, no head problems, nothing in her female organs. I mean, totally healthy. And then she goes to sleep last Friday night and never wakes up. Just dies in her sleep, and she was only 50 years old. Now, I don't know about you, but 50 is not very old to me. And it's been heavy on my mind because a lot of black women, and even black men, have been just dropping dead of heart attacks and have not been pre-diagnosed with any heart disease or any other heart conditions, never had any heart attacks, never had any warnings for any type of heart attacks, no conditions whatsoever. And a lot of them had gone to the doctor prior to having the heart attack and dying, and the doctor said that everything was fine. So I know that women across the board, women worldwide, are dealing with a lot of stress in their life, a lot of dysfunction in their life. But I know a lot of women of color are having this issue because we haven't been taught about these things as a little girl and growing up, about our diet, about our exercise, about our mental, emotional, and spiritual health. Chris, are you there?
Yes, I am. How y'all doing?
Glad you're there. And we're not prepared to really see this on all of the levels of ourselves. So that's why I wanted to talk about this tonight. And I guess it means so much to me. Her name was Niecy. Everybody called her Niecy because she kept me a lot of times when I was a little girl. There were plenty of times I didn't know where my mother was. And, my mother was in the street doing her thing. But this lady, Niecy, that died, I didn't even know. She was only like 8 or 9 years older than me. So she was like a teenager when she was babysitting me. But she was always this very soft and kind, very passionate woman that had this very easygoing energy about herself. I never heard her scream at anybody. I never heard her raise her voice. I never heard her argue with anybody. Everything about her was always really mellow and relaxed, and she just had a smooth spirit, a very soft, kind energy about her. And that's why it was so shocking to me that she was the one out of all of her brothers and sisters that died. Because I'm telling her, like I said, I grew up in the ghetto, so Bankhead Coat and all that, that's where they were from. So I was like dropped off in Bankhead Coat. So her brothers is like, her mom had like 10 kids. So one's like a set of twins, Wee Wee and Red, and they will argue, cuss, fuss, and fight, steal, get drunk, smoke crack and shit, and fight all goddamn night. So as a matter of fact, that's what some of them been doing, the past week since she died. Just raising hell. And they still walking around here raising hell. And she was just easygoing one and just dropped dead in her sleep. And what I want to say about that is one of the main points I want to make about that is a lot of times the hellraisers stay here because they get this shit off their chest. Whatever they feel and whatever they think, and they just say the shit. And many times we see our women, and women, period, have been taught to be nice, to be givers, to be loving girlfriends, to be loving wives, to be supportive wives, even if it's something we don't like our man doing, even if it's something we don't want him to do to us. We don't want him to We don't want to suck dick. We don't want cum in our mouth. We don't want to get fucked in the ass. We don't want to take 10, 12 inches of dick in the pussy. But we do these things, and we're told to suffer in silence, learn to deal with, learn to get along. A lot of women are getting beat up. We're not discussing this. A lot of our women are dealing with boyfriends and husbands that smoke crack and that shoot up heroin or other kind of drugs, or are alcoholics or don't pay the bills, go blow their check on prostitutes, go blow their check to the strip club, that are sleeping with other men, that transfer sexually transmitted diseases to us. And we are taught to be long-suffering, patient, and kind, and pray about it, and Jesus is going to fix it. Many of us on jobs that we hate. We're dealing with bosses that we can't stand because they can't stand us. We're dealing with co-workers that keep up shit, and we have to tolerate this because we need that paycheck to come home. We're dealing with rebellious children that don't respect their mothers, don't respect the household, don't respect anything that we've done. Girls fighting their mothers, boys fighting their mothers. I mean, fist fights, even physically attacking them to the point trying to kill their mothers, stealing things out of the house, digging in their pocketbooks, stealing their food stamps, taking their credit card or their debit card, going in their ATM. I mean, this is the kind of horrendous shit that many of our women are dealing with, but it's a deeper issue, and there are other dynamics when you deal with the woman of color that is having a heart attack, because there are other things on top of being a woman and then being a woman of color that nobody really addresses and nobody teaches us how to deal with. And then we have the spiritual aspect of being a woman of color that we are taught to deny, and the vagina power that is locked into the spiritual aspect of our pussy and our womb that we are taught to deny. On so many levels, the woman has been taught to hold her tongue and to be a second-class citizen, even in the relationship with her man, even in the black community, even in the church. The woman's presence, the woman's power, the woman's voice, and her significance in the church has been denied and suppressed. She doesn't even know who she is. I was watching last night Tom Hanks, was that movie, The Thriller, dealing with the Catholic Church, came on television last night, and they were talking about the Holy Grail that the Catholic Church and the Knights of Malta were searching for is the womb of a woman. It is a woman's vagina, and it is her uterus, and there's carved in, I think, the Catholic Church, a rose at some of the openings in the church, and that is the petals of the vagina, the clitoris. So there are so many secrets around us in religion that signify vagina power, but this society and religion has been taught to suppress and deny the power of the vagina, and especially when it comes to a woman of color. We have so many things on a spiritual level that is in our DNA, that is in our blood, that comes from our ancestors, slavery and the hatred of our woman, the rape of our woman, and even the rape of our children and the separation from our families and the separation from our children, children being bought and sold and children being bred just for that woman to lose those children, women being beaten, by slave masters, women being cut up, women being brutalized. All of that stuff, and we haven't been taught to acknowledge this and to deal with this. We're still suffering with the pain and post-traumatic stress and the psychosomatic disease of slavery. We still have those ancestors that were thrown in the Atlantic Ocean, that were buried in Atlanta, Georgia, in graveyards, that were buried in the ground all over the United States, and that feminine energy is coming from the ground. It is vibrating in the very air that we breathe, and they are asking for justice, and they are asking us to acknowledge them. There's so much pain that is still in the womb of the earth because of the violations to our women. And many of us, I'm saying that to say that we are, let me just break this down a little bit deeper, because many of you might not be getting where I'm going, because I'm talking about blood and DNA and how we are the sum total of every woman that was ever here before we ever breathed. All of our elders and all the vaginas that died because of the violations.